Just came back from Lebanon Valley in New York, pushing it back in the garage to change the oil.
Alright gang, welcome back to the channel, VXM. We had a great weekend up at Lebanon Valley. I know you guys are like, but you lost. You know what? It don't matter. You come back in one piece. The car don't break nothing. Actually, we did break something, but we didn't break nothing. It's always a good day when you don't have no problems. So the only little issue that we had, I already got one ordered and delivered from our boys over at Wilson Manifold. New throttle position switch. Okay, so we were looking at the data log, and the data log was coming up all squiggly lines. Normally you mat the throttle and it gives you a nice straight line unless you lift or something, but it's a nice straight run. And what it was doing was it was coming up and it was all like all squiggly, 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 dropping squiggly like crazy. So I know that was no good. So we ordered a new sensor for the throttle position sensor. We're gonna put that on. Service the car again. Guys, I can't tell you how much it means to service the car in between going racing. I know some of you guys are like, that's crazy, but you know what? My other car, that motor lasted me 40 years now. That motor's been together. Service it all the time, make sure everything's good, and just keep running it. All right, so same thing with this car. And this motor costs a lot more than the other motor. So at this point, that other motor, knock on wood or whatever, but that can blow up right now. Don't owe me one penny. Okay, that motor's been together for 40 years. Been mid-nines with it. Never gave me an issue. Never. I broke a distributor gear one time at the track one day, starting it up in the pits, and it just wouldn't crank over, and it was backfiring. And ended up being busted a little pin in the gear at the bottom of the distributor. All right, so I'm gonna get this thing all serviced up. Got a lot of stuff to do to it. Gonna go nut and bolt it again, make sure everything's good. We're gonna go through the data, make sure everything's good with that. All right, so a couple things we're gonna do. First off, we're gonna pop the nose off it. Got the hood off. I'm gonna pop the nose off. We need to, I'm gonna explain something to you and then I'll show you a diagram. This will probably help a lot of guys out too, because when we went up to Lebanon Valley, we went through tech, and the way the car is wired with the cutoff switch, it doesn't shut off. It won't start with the cutoff switch off, but it won't shut off. So NHRA, and I mean, whether it's NHRA or not, I mean, what's the purpose of having a cutoff switch if it don't cut the car off, right? So we checked it and it don't work. So we're gonna fix that issue. And basically what it is the starter, the wire from the alternator, I have it running to the post on the starter that comes from the back of the car. So that is powered up. But when you try shutting the switch off, it's still completing a circuit within the front of the car, in front of the cutoff switch. So the car will keep running. So even though it cuts the computer off, it's actually backed, the circuit is back feeding and keeping everything on. All right, so there's no electric fuel pump on this car, so it doesn't even shut any of that off. All right, so we're gonna change that around. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with that. We're gonna service the car, check the valves, check the springs, the whole routine all over again. We put 5 passes on the car up at Lebanon Valley. Alternator was a single pole alternator, so from the alternator back to that lug where the starter is. So That's what this is. All right. I tried recording a minute ago, but it was raining so hard you couldn't even hear nothing. So we're gonna do this all over again. So we made a nice clean cut with these. All right? That gives you a nice clean cut. And then we're just gonna take a little bit off of the sheathing or cover. Crimping tool, number 6 end with a 1/4 inch hole. All right. Put the tape on it, the shrink tape on it. Put the right crimping dies in it. And I don't know if you can watch that, but basically it'll crimp it down. And that's that. There's a nice clean crimp. Put the sheathing over the, all right. And then a boot over the whole thing. All right, so we hooked the wire up at the alternator. Put a cable protector around it, and we're just gonna wire it through. So we got the wire run all the way back to the back here. And we're waiting on a new switch that has a 4-lug. And then we'll be able to cut the wire down to the right size, length. Put another crimp on that, and that'll be done. Next thing we got to do is we lost a bolt in the throttle body. So one of these on the bottom. We saw one was loose, getting ready to fall off. So we tightened that one up, and then we just checked that we're missing one. So we just picked another one of them up. So again, nut and bolt everything, man. And it's a never-ending thing because all the vibrating and shaking and rattling and rolling that's going on. You got to really watch every little thing. So we're gonna do that. Again, go through the valves and then make sure everything's cool, ready to go. All right, so the new throttle position switch we got. We're gonna take these 2 bolts out of here, see if it'll clear this hose. If not, we're gonna take the hose off. All right, so this is what we ended up with. This is the Moroso switch that had a regular little turn thing on it that wouldn't work with this situation we got here. So took the bar and this joint, right, rod end off the other one, flipped it around. This hole was the same size as this shaft, and then we just drilled it. I flattened one side of it out, we drilled it, tapped it, and put some set screws in it. So the set screws are on 3 sides, so perfect. Just like before. So we got, pull it on, shut it off. All right, so that's done. So we're just, got all the valves. I checked all the lash on them. Let's see, this one's up. I check all the lash on them. 14, the way it's supposed to be. And then, you guys seen this before, but you check it with this, make sure it's got enough spring pressure.
I hope I know how to work.
Come on, man.
I got you.
Steve.
I'm sorry.
Steve's over here. Steve's my cameraman right now.
Yeah, I'm a
He's a rent-a-cam.
Rent-a-cam.
All right, so that's that. I'll put that back together. I already did the other side.
Ain't that pretty?
I gotta make sure everything's tight. Because everything likes getting loose. Let's see, 3/8. While this is off.
Look at them muscles.
Yeah.
Pretty strong for an old guy there, pal.
Mm-hmm. Easier to do this right now while the valve cover's off.
Did I tell you thanks for helping in my car?
Yeah, thank you. No problem. Okay, that's good.
It's pretty.
Put the valve cover back on. That's it. Okie dokie.
Okay, say goodbye.
Bye.
This guy here is the... Say hi to Charlie. We're the camera people. He should never let us play with the phone.
Awesome.
And that works.
Sorry if the camera was shaking. This thing makes me excited. See you again.
Alright, so we drain the tranny fluid. Use Royal Purple. 75, 140 weight. 75 weight, 140 viscosity. And it holds like about 1.5 quarts. Alright, so we're going to finish putting that in there. Alright. Gear oil's all in, floor's back together. Get the front pan back on. Everything's all nice and tight. Checked all the bolts. And just putting the battery back on charge. Let that charge up. And that's it. The shut-off switch works perfect. Now we don't have any more issues with that. I'm glad that was pointed out to me, because I would have just thought it was wired right. No, you always got to check. All right, so that's the end of that. When the boys come back, the battery will be charged up. Put the nose back on it, put the hood back on it, and stick it back in a box. Ready to play again. Couple of days.